So on June of 1893, Lizzie was acquitted. Oh, sorry. Yep. Lizzie was acquitted of both murders, given that the circumstantial evidence presented by the prosecution was really not good. Was it? It was not good at all. It was not good at all. Some say that Lizzie was acquitted because there was no blood found on the bodies. It was only there was no blood found on Lizzie's body, and there was only blood found around the bodies. So, like, for example, Abby, she was killed in the bedroom, and the only blood that they were able to find was on the rug and on her body. Same with Andrew, her father. The only blood that they could find was on him and on the couch and the floor right below it. So she was maintaining a well-bred Christian persona during the trial. So they said, or people say, that she was able to convince the all-male jury that she was completely incapable of going through with such a gruesome crime. So it was said that it only took the jury 10 minutes to acquit her. They ended up, for respect of the judicial process, they waited an hour to return the verdict, but once they did, they got a not guilty verdict. So the courtroom is said to erupt in cheers and applause, and Lizzie cried and had a sigh of relief, right, dude? She was just so happy. So this, going forward, obviously the last thing we were talking about, she got a not guilty verdict. This is when George Robinson became a national celebrity and was announced to be the most acclaimed defense attorney at the time. He was paid $25,000 for his services by Lizzie Borden and was said to take a brief vacation afterwards. And once he returned, he never took another murder case again. Lizzie did pay a total of $40,000 in legal fees combined together. And this obviously was like chump change to her at this point. She inherited with her sister all of the money, all of her dad's fortune. So we're going to get into a couple different people that they believe, or a couple different people that may have done it outside of Lizzie. And then I will give you my personal opinion on it. So this is John Morris. He is the uncle to Lizzie and Emma. And he was the deceased mother's brother. So he had no relation to Abby or Andrew. He didn't really visit the family a lot after the death of his sister. But for some reason, he decided to stay the night the day before the murder. It was also said that he was a very lazy person. There wasn't much that he liked to do. So during the murder, it was said that he was not at the house. He was actually visiting one of his other nieces and planned to come back around lunchtime. So the weird thing is John's former career was a butcher. So a lot of people speculate that he was the one that actually went through with the murders because it was said that there was no blood everywhere. It was just, centralized to one specific location. So it was also said that he stayed in the room that Abby was killed the night of the murder as well. So he was there the night before, and then he actually stayed in the room that she was murdered in the same night. So the most creepiest thing out of all of it is that he did not show up with an overnight bag. He actually showed up empty-handed. He only had the clothes that were on his body. So that's very weird that it just puts him in that weird situation. So personally, I believe that there are several different reasons why Lizzie may have not actually committed the murder. So one of them is that whoever approached Abby was someone she trusted. So the way that she passed, there was no defense wounds on her. Like I said previously, there was absolutely no blood found anywhere besides her body in the rug. There was no trails of blood anywhere. So it was said that whoever murdered her possibly had a job within the medical field or cleaning up blood. And there's only 2 people that the family knew that were possibly able to do that. And it was John Morris, like we talked about earlier, and Bridget, the maid. So I don't know. Personally, I think it was all of them combined decided to do it. I don't think that it was one specific person. I think that John was the one that actually did the deed. But I think that all of them were involved at some point. So, just one second. So, at some point, there was a reward posted for $5,000, and it would be paid to anyone who gave information that led to the arrest and conviction of Mr. Andrew Borden and his wife, Abby. I don't think that they ever found. It definitely was Vipe. I don't think that they ever found anyone to convict. But this was actually put up by Emma and Lizzie after the fact. It's crazy, crazy. So the next thing we're going to be talking about is Lizzie and her sister, Emma, soon inherited a substantial amount of money. And they moved away from the murder house. And it was said that Emma stayed with Lizzie up until 1905. So Lizzie stayed in this house until her death on June 1st, 1927. And it was said that she was having health issues that whole year prior to her death, and she actually died of pneumonia. Now, Emma left Lizzie at the home because they had a falling out in around 1905. So she left Fall River, Massachusetts, and relocated to several different places before passing away in Providence, Rhode Island. It was said that she only died 9 days after her sister Lizzie, and she died of chronic let me try to pronounce this correctly. Nephritis. It is a condition where the tissues in the kidney become inflamed and have problems filtering waste from the blood. So this is really weird. They were 9 years apart, and they died 9 days apart. Now, she may have known of her sister's death, but they haven't talked since 1905, which is crazy. So, the trial of Lizzie Borden was so famous that American Horror Stories picked it up. Now, I know that we've talked about other cases that they've picked up in the past. So, they based a character off of her. Now, obviously, there was not a complete 100% truth to it. What they did is, in the season called Asylum, a patient was committed for murdering her father and stepmother with an axe. Even though they changed her name up and used Grace Bert and it's still very clear that she was modeled off the infamous Lizzie Borden. Lizzie did not go to an insane asylum, but it's cool to know that American Horror Stories was able to implement a bunch of different real things, into their shows. So, the famous schoolyard rhyme that was played at the beginning of today's show states, and it has several different versions around it, but Lizzie Borden took an axe and gave her mother 40 whacks, and when she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. So this was a school rhyme after everything because it was a national hit, which is very, very inaccurate because the bodies were not found with 40 or 41 whacks. Abby was said to be hit, like I said earlier, she was hit 17 times in the back of the head and 19 times in the side of her head and one between her shoulder blades. And then I believe Andrew was only hit 11 times, but it was all done in the face. So let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. You can actually visit the Lizzie Borden house. You can book rooms, you can book tours. I don't think you can see my cursor. But you can plan to stay. It tells you about the history of the house here. So it is now considered a bed and breakfast. People can stay there. I think there is, I don't know how many rooms that there is in the actual house, but I do know that they give several different rooms that you can stay that actually the murders were committed in or something along those lines. So you can stay in the Morris murder room. So this was the room that was Abby was killed in, and it's called the Morris murder room because John Morris, the uncle, stayed in it the day before and the day after the murder. Then you also have Lizzie and Emma's suite that you can stay in, and Andrew and Abby's suite. And I believe they allow you to stay in Bridget's room as well. But here are some tours that you can take. You have the house tour, which is like just normal history regarding the house. And then there's a ghost tour. And then there's also a ghost hunt, which is pretty cool. Really, really cool. So there are different, you can actually get different souvenirs, which are pretty cool. They have different shirts. Prints that you can, print out of or have for hanging up. They have a bloody axe that you can purchase. They have a bobblehead of Lizzie. Sorry, I keep on forgetting they just have a bunch of different merch that you can buy. You can actually have weddings here as well. So this is actually really, really, really cool. So you can actually be married in the house or on the property, which is really cool that they did that. As I stated, you can book the house rooms. Oh, see our rooms. Let's see if they tell you. So yes, Lizzie and Emma's suite, Andrew and Abby's suite, John Morris suite. And it tells you how many guests that it accommodates. Bridget Sullivan, which is the, sorry. It was the maid. And then it's Andrew Jennings. So this is the lawyer. I guess it was dedicated to him. He never stayed there. And then the Hosa Knowlton room, which that is the district attorney that was going against. Hi, mommy. Aww. Hint, hint, toxic savior. No, he's talking about the hint, hint, where you can actually get married at the house, which is pretty cool. So they also do a virtual ghost tour. If you do it, oh, that's not it. If you go to Ghost Flicks, you're able to do, I think it's $8 per viewer, and they'll go through the event. They'll actually go through the house, and it would be ghost tours. There's also ones that have already been done in the past that you can actually go ahead and watch as well. But it's only $8, and these people go in different locations. You can see here. They have done the Lizzie Borden house, so it would be a past viewing. It wouldn't be live. So let's go ahead and there was one more thing. Hold on one second. Right here. Sorry, I'm talking to BB.
He wanted to say hey. He could hear you through the phone and was wondering where you were.
Really? So, the bed and breakfast, you can actually have breakfast, which is an additional $20 per person in the room. And I don't know if they actually have something similar of at the home location that she lived after this. I don't really think that she does, or they do. But I think this is a really cool. If you're ever up in Fall Rivers, Massachusetts, I would highly suggest going ahead and going and viewing it. This would be really fun to do. Oh, look at here. You can come and apply for tour guides, performers, and more. I also know that they do, I think, a yearly reenactment on the night that, or the day that it happened. They go through the house and, similar to the reenactments that they do for, different wars, such as Gettysburg. I think they do the reenactment at this property as well, so that everyone dresses up in the time frame, the dress attire for the time frame, and they go through everything like that, which is pretty cool. So the first thing is our limited time merch for this show is going to be coming in several different colors. So it's going to have an axe on the front with some blood spatter. And then it's going to have the nursery rhyme. Well, not nursery rhyme, but the school rhyme on the back. Lizzie Borden took an axe, with the logo of Mystery Girls Inc. in the background. I also will be making this in a woman's tank top as well, because I know that a lot of people like the women's tank top. We still also have, let me go ahead and see if I could bring it up real quick. Oh, shoot.